So, at the very heart of the galaxy Messier 87, or M87, there's something massive. And for a long time, we thought we knew what it was. But then, a single image turned everything on its head and sparked a huge debate. Today, we're going to look at two completely different stories, trying to explain what we're actually seeing out there.
And this is it. This is the picture that just about broke the internet. It's the one piece of evidence that everybody can agree actually exists. But what it means? Well, that depends entirely on who you ask. And the answer really gets to the core of how we think the universe works. So what are we looking at? It's a glowing ring 54 million light years away.
Okay, so let's start with story number one. This is probably the one you've heard before. It comes from this huge global project called the Event Horizon Telescope, or EHT for short. And their conclusion? We are looking at the shadow of a supermassive black hole, a direct visual confirmation of Einstein's theory of general relativity. Now, to really get what they're saying, you have to wrap your head around the weirdest part of a black hole, the event horizon. It's not a surface you could touch. It's a literal point of no return. According to general relativity, it's the boundary where gravity becomes so ridiculously strong that nothing, not a planet, not a star, not even light itself, can escape.
You know, just taking this picture was an absolutely incredible achievement. The EHT team had to connect 8 different radio telescopes all across the globe. We're talking Spain, Hawaii, the South Pole, and sync them up perfectly. What they did was create a virtual telescope as big as the entire Earth. It was the only way to get the power you'd need to see something so far away.
And here's the kicker. This is the core of their entire argument. On the left, that's the real image. On the right, that's a computer simulation based on Einstein's equations, showing what a black hole should look like. I mean, the resemblance is pretty stunning. For the EHT scientists, this was the smoking gun. They predicted it. They pointed their planet-sized telescope and bam, there it was.
The EHT team got really specific with their findings. They measured this bright ring, right? And you'll notice it's brighter on one side. They say that's because the plasma is spinning around the black hole so fast, we're talking near the speed of light, that the stuff moving towards us looks brighter than the stuff moving away. They call it relativistic beaming. And most important of all, they found that dark patch in the middle, the shadow. That's the event horizon itself, gobbling up any light that gets too close. Everything, they say, lines up perfectly with a spinning black hole.
And based on how big that shadow is, they calculated the object's mass, and the number is just staggering. It's 6.5 billion times the mass of our sun. Now that number is a huge deal, because it matches up almost exactly with older estimates they'd made just by watching how stars move around the galaxy's center. It all seems to fit together perfectly.
But what if that entire story, that whole foundation, is just wrong? Let's get into story number two, which gives us a completely different picture. See, proponents of what's called the electric universe theory look at that exact same image, and they don't see an absence of matter. They see an incredibly dense concentration of it.
They call it a plasmoid. And this isn't some made-up sci-fi thing. It's a real object that plasma physicists actually create and study in their labs right here on Earth. It's basically a self-contained, donut-shaped ball of electromagnetic energy, all held together by intense electric currents flowing through plasma.
And here's the thing. Proponents, like the physicist Wal Thornhill, say they predicted this too. For years, they've argued that if we could ever get a clear look at the heart of a galaxy, we wouldn't see a black hole at all. We'd see a glowing, donut-shaped plasmoid. So for them, the EHT image isn't proof of gravity's power, it's a massive confirmation of electrodynamics shaping the cosmos.
And this really gets to the heart of the whole debate. It's a question of which fundamental force you believe is really running the show out there in the universe. Is it gravity, pulling everything together into these incredibly dense points? Or is it electromagnetism, a force that, by the way, is trillions upon trillions of times stronger than gravity, organizing plasma into the galaxies we see?
Okay, so this is where the plot really thickens. Because now, there are some scientists who aren't just questioning the interpretation of the image. They're questioning the data itself. They're making the case that this famous image might not be a direct photo at all, but more of a carefully constructed computer model, an artifact of data processing. This quote from the research channel Sky Scholar really sums up the skepticism perfectly. What they're saying is that mainstream science sometimes seems to prioritize its theories, like black holes, over direct observation.
For instance, they argue there's evidence for a real physical surface on our own sun, which is something that the physics of black holes says just can't happen.
The critiques get pretty technical, but they are super important. Critics are asking, how can you be sure of the image when the data was grossly underconstrained, meaning there weren't enough telescopes to fill in all the blanks? They point to EHT's own papers showing that the most important telescope links for getting high resolution were woefully unreliable. They question the processing itself, which may have, in their words, created data from noise. And maybe the biggest question of all, M87 is famous for this gigantic jet of matter it's blasting out into space. How did a telescope powerful enough to see a black hole's shadow completely miss the jet? To the critics, that's a huge red flag that something's not right with this image.
So, we have one image and two stories that are completely at odds with each other. Let's just put them side by side and break down how each theory explains the key things we see in that picture.
This pretty much lays it all out. That bright ring, is it light being bent by extreme gravity, or is it just the glowing body of the plasmoid itself? That dark center, is it a shadow where light gets trapped forever, or is it just the hole in the donut? And what about those powerful jets? Are they being spun out by the black hole, or are they particles that get shot out when the plasmoid becomes unstable? Two complete self-contained stories. They can't both be right.
So we end up right back where we started, staring at this one incredible image. It's been called proof positive that black holes are real, but it's also been held up as total confirmation of a universe that's shaped by electricity. It really all comes down to one question. Is the cosmos run by the slow, steady pull of gravity, or the awesome, unseen power of electricity? That one picture from N87 forces us to think about it, and it makes you wonder what else we might have been seeing wrong all this time.